core adventures full of nasty bosses that are tough to take down, big challenges, teamwork. It's great. And once players get to the end of it, if they live to tell the tale, they get a chance at getting 4-star legendary weapons, power armor, and gear.
Sick.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Zmor, the dad in DPS, and as you saw from Bethesda's own words, we are getting 4-star legendaries. Now, they are talking obviously about what sounds like a dungeon that a dungeon that we're going to be getting in the game that we can go into and take part in, which is going to allow us to get access to this 4-star gear. Now, the thing about 4-star legendaries is they were announced a very, very long time ago, and I believe that they were meant to come into game along the same time as things like Test Your Metal and the Expeditions. Now, correct me if I'm wrong about that, because it was that long ago that I honestly cannot remember for the life of me when it was announced and when it was meant to arrive. The reality being is it didn't arrive, and as a result, we have been left in the dark about it, much like the pet system for the longest while. Now, because of this, pretty much a lot of us had kind of just assumed that 4-star legendaries, and more particularly weapons, had been scrapped because the effects that were data mined were relatively underwhelming in some instances, and maybe a little bit too broken in others. But for, you know, a myriad reasons, not necessarily because they were good, not necessarily because they were bad. But we do have the information that, as I said, these are meant to be coming in December, along with what essentially could be a dungeon. Now, we'll put a pin in the dungeon part and discuss the data mines for 4-star legendaries that we had prior, and will be popping on the screen. So essentially, there are several legendary, what seems to be weapon effects. I'm not entirely certain. It doesn't necessarily say that they're weapon effects. They could be armor effects. They could be both. But the effects that we have are blood healers, cheerleaders, critical healers, warmongers, heavy hitters, and the bruisers legendary mod. Now, the first one, blood healers, what that does is every time you kill an enemy, it will heal one of your teammates, which is an actually decent effect. It's kind of a better medics to an extent, because it doesn't rely on you using crits. But at the same time, you know, medics kind of, I would argue, would be better, because in this next patch, medics is apparently going to allow you to heal people by just simply hitting them and shooting them. Now, on top of this, it's one of those effects that, you know, relies on you killing things. So you need to necessarily be hitting stuff and killing it. It really depends. It's one of those effects that could be actually really good and essentially make your teams unkillable. Combine it with medics, and yeah, you've probably got an immortal squadron of players. But yeah, and the healing effects, other than vampire, have always been rather hit and miss. So it kind of goes into that lines of, is this actually going to be all that useful? Then we have the Cheerleaders legendary mod, which killing an enemy restores your teammates' AP. Now, combine that with someone using cheerleaders, someone using blood healers, you know, you could get interesting combos, you could get interesting situations, and it does kind of feel like at least the old versions of these mods were designed to encourage teamwork. But whether that's going to be the case with the new ones, who knows? But if you have like people using cheerleaders and blood healers, yeah, your team's pretty much not only immortal, but can just use VATS an infinite amount in theory. In theory, you know, this is all speculation, and we don't know if these mods are even going to be still in the game. Then the next one we have is Critical Healers legendary mod. When you land critical hits, it restores your health. Now, what I would say is this effect for a lot of players would actually replace vampires altogether. Imagine you can have a bloodied fixer with Critical Healers legendary mod. You're literally going to just use that and just crit constantly, and you can crit like every other shot with a weapon like that. So that pretty much replaces vampires as an effect. on a lot of weapons, so it kind of is a big factor. Then we have the Warmonger's Legendary mod, where 150% damage on your next hit within 15 seconds of a kill. Now, this one is interesting because obviously that one is, you're going to want that for big weapons. Like, for example, you'd want it for melee weapons because your melee weapons do big single shot damage. You wouldn't want that for like an automatic weapon. So it could actually be a really good kind of meta pick for things like melee weapons, but it's really hard to say. There's also the Heavy Hitters Legendary mod, which I think would probably overscale it, is the 50% chance to cause an explosion when you use power attacks, which is going to do a lot of explosions and be absolutely awesome. So I would definitely love to see that get to the game. And then the last one is the Bruiser's Legendary mod, which gives you plus 15% damage and 25 damage resist while bashing an enemy. Now, the problem with that being is that that effect isn't very good because you don't really use your bashing stuff. That's the kind of problem. There's only one weapon that really utilizes bashing damage effectively, and yeah, that got nerfed, I believe, a while back. So we'll see if that actually makes it to the game. Now, when it comes to the effects for armor and things like that, it's anybody's guess. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to it because we don't rightly know, and we're not going to rightly know until the PTS for this stuff comes out. And hopefully we get to see some new effects, some crazy effects, and some absolutely fun effects. I'd love to see stuff that helps you, for example, gives you kangaroo legs, or a bounce or something like that. Things that give you a double jump. There's all manner of different effects that could exist out there, and I want to see how creative Bethesda is going to get with it. And this is the kind of thing about the 4-star legendary effects. We don't know what's going to happen. And moreover, because from what they've stated, is that you're getting these effects from this dungeon that they're bringing into the game. The question becomes, is that the only way that you can get them? Can you even mod these effects onto pre-existing gear? Can you scrap them to get these legendary 4-star mods off of them? Or is a 4-star this thing that is unique to the dungeon and you have to get there? Which then kind of limits the amount of ways for you to get them. And there's also the factor of, we don't even know if you can repeatedly run these dungeons. Is it going to be like a once a day type thing? So you can only get X amount of 4-stars a day per character or per account. So there's a lot of questions, a lot of things we need to think about, and a lot of speculation to be had. And I'm sure I'm going to be making more videos about this on the future. But either way, guys, I open it up to you. What do you guys think about the announcement that 4-stars are coming? And what do you think is going to be the result of these 4-star legendary items? Do you think we're going to get the effects that we had that I've listed? Do you think they're all scrapped? What do you guys think about it? I really definitely want to know. Either way, guys, I will catch you all next time in the Wasteland.
Feeling the heat, I'm taking again. We'll play poker with the devil. In shadows we ramble, cards on the table. The stakes run high.